If you're job hunting right now, there's one conversation that almost everyone dreads more than any other, and that's the salary conversation. Hi everyone, Rick here. Today I'm talking about salary negotiation. This is the last of 4 episodes. The first 3 were focused on resumes, networking, and interviewing. So please check them out if you haven't already. I want to start by telling you why you should listen to what I'm about to share. I've been a hiring manager. I've sat on the other side of the table deciding what offers to make, what flexibility my company and I actually had. I've worked with recruiters. I've also been out of work myself, staring at job postings, wondering how much I could ask for without ruining my chances. So when I talk about salary negotiation, I'm not just talking in theory. I've lived this from both sides. Everything I'm going to share today is advice I wish someone had given me earlier in my career. It's also advice that has helped a lot of other people navigate this part of the job search with more confidence and far less stress. That said, this isn't about scripts or tricks. You always need to use your own judgment and experience. My goal is to give you a way to think about salary negotiation that makes the conversation feel less like a battle and more like collaboration, because that is what it should be. This is why salary negotiation matters more than you think. Salary negotiation isn't just about the number on your offer letter. Your compensation fuels every part of your life, your housing, your health care, your ability to save for retirement, whether you can take a vacation without stress, whether you're constantly worried about money, or able to focus on doing great work. Getting this right early matters more than most people realize. Being underpaid doesn't just hurt in the moment. It can follow you for years, pushing you into a cycle of constantly looking for the next job, just to catch up. Now here's the part many job hunters miss. From an employer's perspective, ethical employers don't want to underpay you. If they do, they know exactly what will happen. You'll take the job, and the moment something better comes along, you'll leave. Turnover is expensive. Recruiting, onboarding, training, lost productivity, it all adds up fast. So when salary conversations work well, both sides are actually aligned. You want fair compensation so you can build a sustainable life. They want to pay you fairly, but within their range, so they can retain someone who's engaged and committed. That's why the goal should never be winning the negotiation. The goal should be a win-win for both sides. Like in interviewing, the most important work happens before the conversation. Before you ever talk to a recruiter or hiring manager about salary, you need to know your own numbers. Not what you hope to make, not what sounds impressive, your actual range. This range has 2 parts. First, your minimum. Your minimum is the number below which the job simply doesn't work for you. That includes adding up the costs of rent or mortgage, food, transportation, healthcare, retirement savings, vacations, emergencies, all of it. This isn't about scraping by. It's about living comfortably and sustainably. Second, your maximum. Your maximum is what you can reasonably expect to earn for that role, in that market, with your experience. This is where research matters. Tools like salary sites and local market data help you understand what companies are actually paying, not what one outlier might offer. Once you have those 2 numbers, you have your range. And here's something critical. That range is for you. You do not owe it to a company. That is one rule that changes everything. Never tell a company your range. Most companies would never voluntarily share their full salary band with you. They treat that information as internal and sometimes even confidential. You should treat your range the same way. What you can do is acknowledge that ranges exist on both sides. When salary comes up, and it will, you can calmly signal that you understand how this works, that you know companies have a range, and you do too, and that you're interested in working together to find something that makes sense for both sides. That framing alone changes the tone of the conversation. It tells the person across from you that you're informed, reasonable, and collaborative, and not guessing or posturing. If you're pressed to give a number, this is where preparation pays off. You anchor towards the higher end of what's reasonable for the role, based on your research. Not because you're trying to squeeze them, but because you know the market and you know your value. And if they come back lower, you can evaluate it calmly against your range. And if it's within your range, you can be satisfied, even if it's not the absolute top end. And if it's below your minimum, you already know your answer. You need more than that to live the life that you want. Let's talk about when walking away is the right move. Walking away from an offer can feel scary, especially if you've been searching for a while. But here's the truth. Accepting a role that doesn't meet your minimum doesn't make the fear go away. It just delays it. You'll still feel the pressure. You'll still be doing the math every month, and you'll likely still be looking. Declining professionally isn't burning a bridge. It's showing clarity and self-respect. And employers notice that. Here is something I'll never forget. I want to share a quick story about someone I was interviewing. I've changed her name for privacy, but let's call her Fran. Fran was a strong candidate for a role I was working on. When I called her to discuss the position, everything was going well. Then I asked the salary question, and she broke down crying. She had been job hunting for a long time. She was terrified of saying a number that was too high and losing her chance entirely. She honestly thought I might hang up on her. That day, I did something many hiring managers wouldn't do. I explained that my company already had a salary range for the role. My goal wasn't to trap her, it was to hire someone within that range. But I also told her she needed her own range. I asked her to step back and actually calculate what she needed to live comfortably. Not guess, calculate. I told her to call me back once she had done that. She called me back the next day. Her voice was completely different. Calm, confident, and her range fit comfortably within what we could offer. Nothing about the numbers had changed. Only her clarity had. Here's the bottom line. Salary negotiation doesn't have to feel like a confrontation. When you know your numbers, when you understand the employer's perspective, and when you frame the conversation as a partnership, everything shifts. You stop feeling like you're asking for permission, and you start having a professional conversation between two adults trying to make a good decision. And if salary negotiation is something you've been avoiding, I hope this gives you a calmer, clearer way forward. I hope this episode resonated with you. If it did, my book, The Job Hunt Insider, Essential Strategies for Resumes, Networking, Interviews, and Salary Negotiation, goes deeper. It breaks this down step by step, with more examples, more nuance, and more guidance for navigating these conversations with confidence. You can find the Amazon book link, as well as how to connect with me on LinkedIn, in the show notes. So be sure to check them out. Here is a practical takeaway you can apply today. These will also be in the show notes, so be sure to check them out. Before your next salary negotiation, you should calculate your true minimum, no shortcuts. Research the market to understand a realistic maximum. Commit to keeping your range private. Practice framing salary as a collaboration, not a demand. Decide in advance what walking away looks like, so fear doesn't make the decision for you. I want to close with this. When you know your numbers and trust your value, the salary conversation stops being something to fear, and it becomes the moment you start building a career that truly supports your life. Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe and let others know about this podcast, and the book, of course. You can help them in their own job hunt. The next episode, we'll be back to normal with another talent acquisition professional interview. Take care, everybody.